What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with the weekly look at Hasbro's vintage collection. Not a lot of really particularly interesting sales this week. I'll just get it out there now. But I did find some early TVC 1.0 that sold some kind of European variants, Ultimate Galactic Hunt foil examples. We've got some graded items that sold for some pretty decent prices, both surprisingly low and surprisingly high. And I also, at the end of the video, I did include some sealed vehicles that sold here recently, in case anyone's looking. I need to say thank you to two channel viewers. One of them is a new Patreon. Four Eyes Vader just became a Patreon member. Thank you so much for joining up the Patreon ranks. And then I also received a super for one of my videos last week from a friend of mine named Frank Harrison. He's got a great collection. I've known Frank for a long time, and he was kind enough to send me a super for one of the videos last week. So thank you to both Four Eyes Vader and to Frank for being so generously supportive of the channel. I really appreciate the channel support. Patreon.com/actionfiguregrader is where you can go to sign up. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. This seller had some beautiful European examples that I don't know if it was just how nice the photos were. They were super crisp, but I just wanted to point them out because they were really nice looking European examples with the warning label on the back. They're just US cards, obviously, with the blacked out stickers on the front and the top left, top right, and then you got the warning label on the back. And I wanted to show them because they're particularly nice looking in the photos, and they sold for pretty decent prices. We had an unpunched Darth Sidious VC79 with the Darth Maul offer sticker. That one sold for 85 pounds, which is 108 US dollars. Nice looking example there. And then here was a US release for Yoda. This one was just the standard US release of VC20 with the Revenge of the Sith card back, not the Canadian release that we all know and love and want. But this one was a pretty nice example for VC20, and that one sold for 125 pounds, which is 160 US dollars. That's a little bit more than what we have to pay for over here. Obviously, this one was in the UK, but over here, it seems to be the going rate's closer to $100. Again, it could be a currency conversion thing, but $160 is, you know, towards the upper end of the range, I would say, for what we pay over on this side of the pond. He also had a European example of Nam Anor Skeletor, or Action Figure Grader in action figure form, if you're talking dirty to me. But this one is, again, the European release with the warning labels on the back and then the blacked out stickers on the front. That one sold for $73.50, which is 93 US dollars, and that's about the going rate. You might get it a little cheaper over here on stateside, 80 bucks, maybe $85, but I found another example that was the US card, unpunched, that was in good shape, that sold for $89.99. So this one was kind of right in line with that price point. Next up, we've got the Ultimate Galactic Hunt foil example of Anakin Skywalker. And this one was a pretty clean example, although at the very top of the hang tab, it did have some kind of wear up there. It looks like it might just be wear from hanging on the tab in retail stores. But otherwise, a pretty clean example of VC13. That one sold for $200, $199 plus $8.30 shipping. So that's kind of a higher price point than what I've seen recently, but it was a fairly clean example. Next up, we had Obi-Wan, and I don't know what's going on with some of these prices, okay? I had to point them out because I'm sure you're as confused as I am. This was a punched example of Obi-Wan Kenobi, VC16, is that right? VC16. And this one was not a super clean example. It had quite a bit of edge wear. Again, it was a punched example with a Walmart price sticker in the upper right-hand corner, and it was at auction, and it still sold for $202.50. So, I mean, I think you can get an unpunched example for that price or less. So, I don't know. I have another one that's coming up that's very similar to that I'll show you in a second. I forgot to look up what the best offer accepted was on this one, but this is VC17 General Grievous. This is the standard release, but it was offerless, and this one did have some edge wear to it. It wasn't perfect by any means, but it was unpunched with kind of a ding by the warning label in the upper right-hand corner. $200 best offer accepted, probably $175 or so. Again, I forgot to look it up, but the blister looked fine. It just had that little ding in the upper right-hand corner by the warning sticker. So $200 best offer accepted. I think if you're patient, you can probably pay about that for a cleaner example of unpunched VC17 General Grievous. Again, this was the non-foil example. We've got a foil example that was graded that just sold here at auction that I'm going to cover. That price was pretty pretty eye-popping. Next up, we have Clone Commander Cody. This was a punched example, of course. We all know how expensive the unpunched Clone Commander Cody is. Free rocket-firing Boba Fett offer sticker on the front with the paperwork inside. And overall, fairly clean, light edge wear on the bottom of the back of the card. That one sold for $113.50. Again, it wasn't perfect. Usually for a more clean example, you're probably talking like 180, 175, somewhere in that ballpark for a punched example. I haven't seen an unpunched example sell here recently, although there was one in one of the Facebook groups. I think it was the TVC Rebels group on Facebook that sold, I want to say it was 600 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark. If one of those guys are watching, which they usually are, I'm sure they can fill us in the comments as to what that sold for. But I'm pretty sure it was around 600 pounds. That's the last one I remember selling off the top of my head. I haven't seen any that have sold on eBay here recently. Next up, this was an interesting one that I sent out to my Patreons in a Buy It Now alert. This was the Canadian example of the Black Rebel Commando with the multi-language name pill, unpunched. Not perfect, but pretty clean example. That one sold for $85. $85 plus $6.09 shipping. But I always like those name pills that have the multi-language on there. And again, that was the Canadian example. If I can find a photo of the back. There you go. This is the back. It did have some kind of price sticker on the bottom right-hand corner, but very clearly the Canadian example with the multi-language name pill, $85 on that. Han Solo in Carbonite. This is one I've talked about in past videos. This was a pack-in for the Jabba's Palace playset. And this one continues to command a lot of money on the secondary market. This was an auction, and it sold for $94 on 18 bids plus $9.50 shipping. So we saw a recent graded example that I want to say sold for almost $200 US, if not a little bit above that. So this one was an ungraded example, but in really good shape. And again, it sold for $94 plus $9.50 shipping. Here's an example of another one that I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so this was the Battle Droid re-release. The re-release Battle Droid, and it sold 5 bids, $102.50, and the seller said in the comments, note, this is from the first wave of TVC, not a re-release. But if you look at it, it's very clearly a re-release. It very clearly had damage on the side of the card. It was at auction. You can see the crease there on the back there, but this is clearly the re-release figure for VC-78 Battle Droid. It was advertised as the original release, and still people bid on it, and they bid $102.50 on it. So I have no idea what's going on or why people bid this one up. This is a $15 item at best. But for whatever reason, somebody decided to spend $102.50 on a re-release Battle Droid, and I don't know why. Next up, we have the Imperial Assault Tank Commander. This is always one that's very desirable, and I found 2 recent data points for that will give you a nice price target to aim for. This one sold for $82 plus $11.60 shipping, so about $94 on that one. And then this one sold in an auction for $102.50 plus $9.50 shipping, so let's call that $111.50, $112. So about $95 to $112 is about the going rate right now for the Imperial Assault Tank Commander. We all know how desirable it is, and it seems to be kind of holding its value. It got way up there for a while, folks, but it seems to be coming down just a little bit. Now, let's talk about some graded items. There were some good deals, and there were some that went a little bit higher than I expected. This was a CAS 95 Mandalorian Super Commando, and this one was listed for $80 plus $15 shipping. Not a bad deal, given that CAS charges, about $70 now for modern graded items, and this one was a high grade 95, so pretty good deal on that, $80 plus $15 shipping. Same seller also had an uncirculated 90 plus grade Reva, third sister from the Obi-Wan series. That one also was $80 plus $13.60 shipping. Pretty good deal there if you are into some of those more recent releases and high grade. Next up, we had an uncirculated 9.0 General Era Syndulla. This one was a gold level, 9.0 uncirculated. KE Toys and Games is a seller I bought from in the past. The seller had 3 of them available. 2 of them did sell at $85, and this one was $10.80 shipping, so about $95, $96 plus taxes for a U 9.0 General Syndulla. Then we've got some foil examples that sold here at auction. These just closed as of the making of this video. First is the Clone Commander Cody C5 exclusive. It says C5 exclusive. I thought that this was like, oh yeah, the Celebration 5. Celebration 5 exclusive foil logo, 9.25 gold level proof card. So this one is always a desirable one. This one was also unpunched, which is kind of tougher to find for Clone Commander Cody and for the Boba Fett proof card. I find those two to be the most difficult to find unpunched. That one sold for $66 plus $12 shipping. Not a bad price on that one at all. General Grievous. Here was the one that was really surprising. This was the foil General Grievous in a 9.0, and it sold in an auction for $435 on 22 bids. So big price on that one, although it is a desirable figure. Great looking example. 9.0 gold level AFA, $435 on that one. There was also the foil Sand Trooper with the Fett offer. That one was graded AFA 8.5. That one sold in an auction for $109.26 plus shipping on that one, plus $19 shipping. So about $130 for, what is it, VC 115? I forget the number, but it's 8.5 on the modern scale Sand Trooper with the clean apps, not the dirty paint apps. So this is what, VC 15? Is that right? Don't quote me on that. And then the VC 112 somewhere in there for the dirty version of the Sand Trooper. So 109.26 on that one. The Magna Guard, this was a good deal. One of you viewers picked this one up and mentioned it in the comments for last week. This one sold for $158, and this was a 9.0 AFA gold level foil example of the Magna Guard. I've seen these sell for about this price or more ungraded. So congrats who picked that up. I forgot who it was, but he did comment in the comments for the Vintage Collection market update last week that he grabbed this one. I thought that was a great deal. Congratulations on that one. Next up, another viewer picked this one up. I thought this was another pretty good deal. This was an AFA 85 VC 000 yak face. Obviously, this was packed in with a Katana sail barge, and this one was a starting bid price of like $170, and then it was a make an offer, or you could buy it now at like $300 or $350, something like that. He made an offer at $250. That offer was accepted, plus $20 shipping, and that's about right. I mean, they go for about $300 graded, and the person that bought this was worried because it had some kind of like on the seal for the blister, they noticed some kind of air pockets and bubbles, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, did I buy a fake?" And I'm like, "No, this is how they are." The seal on these yak faces were known to be pretty weak as it was. Some of them fell right off the card, and this kind of weak seal that you see in the photos here around the coin especially, and then on the side sometimes, that's very standard. It's very factory. I've even had some other kind of non-VC 000s that have had this issue. So if you see this on an ungraded example of either VC 000 or on any other, make sure it doesn't have like glue residue from a reseal, but this is very clearly not a reseal, and if it's been AFA graded. This was also the shiny coin version of VC 000. I guess there's a matte coin and then the shiny coin example. So this one was the shiny coin example, graded AFA 85, but don't be worried if you see a graded example, especially with those kind of weird gaps in the seal, especially on this one. This one's known to have some kind of weird seal issues as it relates to the blister, and some of them even fall right off. So $250 took that one home, plus $20 shipping. To finish things off, I wanted to show some play sets and vehicles still sealed. This one's still sealed in the shipper box for Boba Fett's throne room, and this one obviously includes the fat Bib Fortuna. $219.99 plus $62 shipping, so almost $300 for that throne room was the sales price on that one. The Razor Crest, I have two different data points for still sealed in the shipper box HasLab Razor Crest. This one sold for $475 plus $75 shipping, so let's call that $550. And then this one sold for $500 plus $58 shipping. So this one was not still sealed in the box. This one was in pretty pristine condition. I take that back. There was a ding in the lower right-hand corner that I did not see when I pulled this up. So this one wasn't perfect, but this one actually sold for more than what this one sold for still in the shipper box. But with this one, you're taking some risk, right? That the box itself, the packaging itself will still be in good shape. You can see a little hole in the shipper box in the lower right-hand corner on the side there. So you're taking a little bit of risk, whereas this one, you know exactly what you're getting. It does have some dings and some wear, which is going to happen sometimes just as the shipper box gets thrown around. But $550 is about the going rate right now for a mint and sealed box Razor Crest. We also had a Target exclusive Rebel Armored Snowspeeder with the Empire Strikes Back packaging, and I found several data points, $200 plus $15 shipping on this one, and I found one other data point at $225 shipped, so a pretty tight price range on the Target exclusive Snowspeeder. And then finally, we had the TIE Interceptor. This one came with the Amazon shipper box, and you can see there that the box was in pretty pristine condition with the shipper box. That one sold for $325 plus a minimal amount for shipping, so pretty good deal on that. I did find one other data point for the TIE Interceptor Amazon exclusive that sold at $280 plus $20 shipping, so $300 shipped on that one. So $300 to $325 or so is the going rate right now for a nice clean example of the Amazon exclusive TIE Interceptor. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching, and I will be back very soon, tomorrow actually, with a what to buy on eBay video. I know you guys like that video, so that will be coming out this coming Friday or tomorrow as of the making of this video. Talk to you soon.